The Back to the 50s Festival is turning 30. To help us celebrate 3 decades of poodle skirts and so much more, 4 of the event organizers join us for episode 181 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. We recap humble beginnings and look to how the event might be changing in years to come. Episode 181 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 181 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. I'm Joe LePage, the City of Lebanon Community Development Director. This weekend, everybody, mark those calendars for Friday, for Saturday. Just book it, wipe it out, because the 30th annual Back to the 50s Festival is taking place this Friday, Saturday at the Boone County Fairgrounds. We've got 4 different organizers around this small circular table in my phone booth of an office here to chat more about it. Guys, thanks for being here, and please welcome Carmen Ottinger, Barbara Bell, Kevin Van Horn, and Beth Walton. Guys, thank you so much for being here on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
30 years, and this is an amazing feat. There are humongous pink balloons here in the office, everybody. You probably see pictures of those in the graphics I'll put together. But Carmen, 30 years. Can you believe it?
It is amazing. We're still moving forward, and we've all just put our hearts and souls into this festival and just working.
Year after year, did you guys say, wait, we're past 20, we're getting closer to 30? Has it gone quickly? Is it one of those things where, wait a sec, next year's 30 years?
Well, and the day that we're doing the festival, we've already booking things for next year. So it's, you're doing what? Yeah, we're booking, the tent. We've got to book it for next year or it gets booked out from under us. So when people go, well, you just started on this last month. And no, we book for next year, this year. It's not something you put together yesterday. It takes a year to put it together.
And Barbara, it's easy to see why, because my goodness, looking at the flyer for the event, jam-packed full of different events, different things that are added for folks of all ages during this 2-day event.
Lots of music. That's my favorite part. Friday night, we have a great band. And Saturday, all day long, starting at 11:30, there's bands like every hour and a half changing. So you'll have your choice of Elvis or Beatles or just 50s, 60s music. So come see us. We last till 6 o'clock Saturday night. So all day long, music.
And Kevin, we talked about before we hit record, everybody, the Rigby's are coming back. That's a Beatles tribute show, and it coincides with the anniversary of them being back in Indianapolis. And Kevin, you've been the MC for a long time and in front of the mic. How great is it for you to continue to give back in this way, be part of this event, and bring up kiddos? I love looking at the Facebook page and all the kiddos that come up and you put on the mic and things and bring on stage. How cool is it to be involved with this event?
Yeah, looking forward to the next 30 years. 30 years ago, Bob Moran, God rest his soul, from Thorntown, Indiana, was the director. Him and I were both Elk members at the time, and Bob says, hey, Kevin, you want to help me with this? Yeah, tell me what it is. I said, yeah, I'd love to help you. And I was his assistant 30 years ago, and after that first year, Bob says, I don't want to do this anymore. Kevin, you want to take over? So for 29 years, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of people here in this community, just having a wonderful time with it. And we get up there, and none of us get paid. We're all volunteers, and we just get up there and have a good time entertaining the community, inviting, hoping that thousands of people come in from all over the Midwest to enjoy the Back to the 50s Festival here in Lebanon, Indiana. Looking forward to seeing all of you.
And Beth, I want to bring you in also, because it's not just the 50s, it's not just the Beatles. That's an era that is celebrated, certainly. But you head up the kids area, the kids fun area, a fun event for all ages. You guys do a really great job of incorporating the youth as well.
We do, and I love what I do over there. It's so fun because I'm a people person. I like to interact with people. So just to see the kids over there having fun with their parents and going back and forth to the different inflatables, it's a fun atmosphere over there, and that's what I get into, and I like interacting with the kids. And over there this year at the fun park, we brought back the coloring page. So the kids will be able to come over and color their picture, their 50s themed picture, and we'll have it up in a separate tent by itself so they can see what they're doing. They all get ribbons for it. We also, the inflatables we have this year, we have the I call it the adult favorite, the slide we will have back this year.
They're like babysitters, right? They're inflatable babysitters. Just hit the slide, kids.
You know, the parents are like, can I go down the slide? And I'm like, sure, go down with your kid. Yeah, but yeah, go down. We have the slide. We have the obstacle course back, the bounce house. We also have a junior bounce house for like the kids like 3 and under who aren't big enough to go
Don't want
on,
to be
like
catapulted so high.
Because
sure.
there is no top to it. So boom, right off the top. We'll have over in our area, we have a little goldfish type game for the kids this year, which will be fun. Like you just toss like your little golf ball into the bowl and get a prize. And then over by the REMC building, we will have some games as well this year for the kids, for the participants.
That's fantastic.
So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and everybody, once again, happening on Friday and Saturday at the Boone County Fairgrounds, 6 to 9, 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Friday, and then 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday the 14th. Now, Carmen, this is a jam-packed flyer. So many things going on. I'm guessing that when this began back in the 70s, this flyer was a little bit smaller, if it even existed, and there were fewer different things going on when it was back. Saturday on the Square, created back in the 70s-ish, is what I saw online.
Right.
Humble beginnings?
30 years ago. It was Saturday on the Square, and I think the title also said something about the way it used to be or something like
Okay.
that. And I was looking at my binders last night, which I have everything from the beginning. And there was a prequel to this, which some people, and I tell my age on that, because they had some events prior to Saturday on the Square, and I couldn't find a name for it, but it was held on Washington Street in front of the Penny's store,
Okay.
J.C. Penney's, the grocery, the hardware store, the gas company was along there, and the jail. And I believe, I couldn't find a name, but it had something to do with some Pioneers' Days.
Okay.
They had bed races, and they had representatives from organizations and like Jamestown, Advance, Whitestown, and they had actual beds, and they raced up and down the street from your teams. They had some food vendors and some arts and crafts, and I think it was just held on Saturday. Nothing spectacular, but homey. So then I think somebody got a brainstorm a couple years later, and Kathy Budd, Nancy Reagan, and they had a store on the corner where the Pocket Park is. And it used to be Hag Drugs before that. And then they turned it into an arts and crafts store, and it had several booth vendors in there, and which they sold spots for. They then created, along with the store merchants, where we actually had lots of stores. We had shoe stores, we had dress shops, we had restaurants all around the square. And several of those merchants all got together and decided to create an activity, a festival downtown, Saturday on the square, Saturday only. And some of those included Mike Kincaid at the time, because he had a karate studio, and other merchants. And I looked up their names. A lot of people, I remember their stores and shopped there. And they created the Saturday on the Square. And they named the streets. Some of them were called Hoosier Alley, Aunt Bee's Cafe, Mickey Mouse Club Park, the American Bandstand Boulevard, the Hit Parade Highway, the Price is Right Square, and the Ed Sullivan Showcase. So each street had a name which took care of like the fun park, our showcase, where the food vendors were. And so that started out. The first year it had 12 classic cars that showed up. The clubs like the Elks and the Tri Kappa and different churches provided the food. I remember our Tri Kappa, we started out selling conies and sloppy joes at some normal prices, but the Elks sold them for 50 cents a piece, their hot dogs. And so we had to severely cut our prices because we weren't selling anything since the Elks was selling them at 50s prices. But we did sell out. We had to run down to the IGA, buy some more hot dogs so that we could sell our conies and our sloppy joes. And we sold out both first and second year. So that did really well. And then the second or third year, they decided to add a Friday night dance. Thus, the name changed back to the 50s Festival because it couldn't be Saturday on the Square anymore.
Yeah.
So they changed it to the Back to the 50s Festival. And the second or third year, a friend of mine, Lori Brown, God bless her soul, she's not with us any longer, excuse me, asked me to stuff envelopes for the vendors. That was my mistake when I said yes. And I've been there ever since, stuffing envelopes and then moving on to different venues. I have done every section of the festival except being the treasurer. I've run the car show one year because our car show director, he had it all put together, but he decided about 2 weeks before the event that he had something better to do in Indianapolis at a huge car show over in the Speedway area and left us high and dry. So another gal and I did the car show.
Then knocked it out.
We knocked it out and did everything else too.
Oh,
So here I am,
30
that
years
many
later.
years later, still here, and now I'm chairman. So, but I've done every aspect. I haven't totally run the fun part yet because Beth and her friend came on board there several years ago, and she has run that event and taken great care of the fun part, and it's in her hands, and she does a fabulous job.
I actually, when I come on to the festival, I wasn't supposed to be on the festival. It was one of those funny circumstances as well. My friend Kim and I, we worked at Dairy Queen, and the previous year Trent Chitwood had done the Dairy Queen contest for
Correct,
Dairy Queen,
yes.
and then he left the store, and he asked Kim to take over on the festival, and she did, and she needed a ride one night to the festival. She asked me if I would take her. It was when we were at... it's Huntington Bank.
Yeah,
now.
Huntington Bank
yeah,
now.
I was trying to remember
We had
the
our
name of the bank.
meetings there.
So we had our meetings there.
Community room.
So I just went downstairs with her because it was cold out, and I just like sat back. And Carmen's like, "Well, you can come up to the table. It's fine." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm fine back here. I should have stayed back against the wall." 18 years later, I think the first year we were strictly with the Dairy Queen, and then the second year we took over on the Fun Park, and we did the Fun Park and we did the Dairy Queen contest at the same time.
And the Dairy Queen contest was so much fun. It was usually the county employees against the city employees.
Yeah.
And we invented several different versions of the Dairy Queen contest. whether it
Dilly
be-
bar
I
eating
was gonna
contest.
say, I remember the
We
dilly bar
did-
eating contest.
One year we did a slushy contest. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. We had warm bottles of water sitting around because I knew what was going to happen.
Brain freeze.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Larry Lee used to be with the street department. He drunk his Mr. Misty down like it
He was the king.
nothing.
And
He would win
then-
every year. He would win the contest. And one year we made the banana splits up early. Well, the girls at the store did because I was downtown, and they froze them. And he ate that banana split within a minute, frozen.
Wow.
Everybody else is like struggling on the struggle bus here to get this done because it's frozen. And it was like nothing, like just gone.
He's got a
Like
line of
within-
trophies.
Yeah, he does. He had that line of trophies. It was awesome. He was a good guy.
Everybody, we're talking with Carmen and we're talking with Beth and Barbara and Kevin here on episode 181 of the Love and Lebanon podcast, honoring the Back to the 50s Festival, celebrating 30 years, taking place this weekend at the Boone County Fairgrounds on Friday the 13th from 6 to 9 and then Saturday the 14th from 9 until 9. So 30 years, and you guys have been around for most of it, a lot of it, all of it. Barbara, what does it take to be able to keep coming back after you got hooked as well, to keep on coming back, to keep on serving in this way, nearly 3 decades?
It's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun, and I love all the kids that come out. We have a hula hoop contest. We toss beach balls, and we have a hula hoop contest, and just seeing all the kids. We have a parade. The kids come around. Some of them have on poodle skirts, and some of them just come around and use. Ann is our photographer. She has a baton, and they play with a baton and march around, and they think they're really something else. And it's just wonderful to see all the kids, and I like seeing all the people out. It seems like
I got to be honest, one of the things that has stuck out to me interviewing all four of you is how, like, those memories just still are in the forefront of your brains. What other memories do you guys have from various Back to the 50s festivals past? You mentioned the Mr. Misty contest and the dilly bars. I remember watching that happen like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're downing them so quickly.
What?
Other memories that stick out to you, Carmen?
I think we'll all remember is Mr. Bob Arbuckle, who is gone now from us, and you'll see his picture in our photo gallery. He was from Noblesville. he owned Arbuckle's Railroad Place in Noblesville, which sold fabric and yarn, and he also repaired sewing machines. I got acquainted with him because as a seamstress, I bought fabric from him. My mother bought yarn. She lived in Muncie, I lived here. I met her there. We would buy fabric and stuff, but he also repaired my sewing machine. But he also came to the festival on Friday night to our dance. He was in his late 80s to 90s when I met him, and he came and danced. And this gentleman was a dancer. He danced on the side. He danced at several places around Indy, Noblesville, Anderson, up at the James Dean Festival. But he would come, and he did have a dance partner, several over the years, because they would pass on, but he'd have a new dance partner. And since he danced at different dance clubs, he would meet new dance partners. His last couple of years, he came, and he always danced. He always came very dressed to the nines. So the last couple of years, he came and he had a sport jacket on, and on the back he had written, "I need a dance partner for the James Dean Festival."
His phone number back on there too, or a website?
Just talk to me. Yeah. But that evening, he could dance, any dance, you name the dance, line dance, whatever. So we all of us girls danced with him. And if you knew how to dance or thought you knew how to dance, you could dance anything with him, because as a gentleman who knows how to dance, he could lead, and he led well. By the time the evening was over, I was his dance partner for the James Dean Festival dance.
Oh, I see.
And that's
Tell me there's got to be pictures of that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
There are pictures. I ended up going with him, and I came up with an appropriate 50s dance ensemble. I did not want to do a poodle skirt. I wanted to do something else. I ended up going with him. My husband and I picked him up at his place of business in Noblesville. He has a 3-wheeled trike, which he arrived at our place with his 3-wheeled trike. And I went with him, and we loaded his bike, went up to northern Indiana for the festival that's up there, and I rode with him, and he had a sign made appropriately. We arrived at that festival and rode the 3-wheeled trike from our parking place up through the middle of the festival to the dance location. And you would have thought the king had just arrived, because everybody applauded. We were 5 minutes late for the event, and they were going, "You're late, you're late." And everybody had chosen their song from the DJ that they were going to dance to. And he said, "Just play something." We hadn't rehearsed, but we danced. We came in second. That's okay. And he also, Lebanon held a Dancing with the Stars contest.
Remember that.
He was in the Anderson Dancing with the Stars contest with their pros. He didn't win, but we all went to the Anderson Theater, which is a beautiful facility. And he had been teamed up and practiced and danced and did fabulous. But the man, I would dance with that man any place he took me to. Waltz, cha-cha, anything. He was a wonderful dancer.
And Kevin, you got to share the story,
Yeah.
Your memory that you shared before we hit record. That was hysterical. You're taking your teacher final exam, buddy. You got to share that, dude.
I was 42 years old before I took my first college course on my way to receive my elementary education degree through the Indiana University School of Education at IUPUI. And in 2004, I ended up earning that degree. So I needed my brother. I have an identical twin brother. I said, "David, I have to take my state licensing test on this Saturday that the Back to the 50s Festival is, and I need your help." I said, "The audience will have no clue that you're not Kevin up there introducing these acts as they come on and off the stage. Just entertain them. I should be back in probably 1, 2 o'clock." So David does his thing. And in the process, Becky Cook, God love her, Becky Cook, from what I understand, had went to Carmen and said, "Why is Kevin up there on the stage with this pretty blonde-haired girl who happened to be David's wife?" And Carmen had to convince Becky that, no, that's not Kevin. That's his identical twin brother,
the old
David.
switcheroo, you got caught in the middle of that?
Yeah, I got in the middle of it. I could not convince her that that's Kevin's twin, David, and that's David's wife.
And I arrived at probably about 2 o'clock, and the crowd was pretty excited. There's 2 of them? Having no clue.
It was a double take. We were just like, what? And Becky finally
Believed you.
She believed,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe, some of the fond memories that I have, over the years, 30 years, I've seen dozens of acts come in and off that stage. We've worked with them. We as a team here, we listen to the CDs that they send us back in the day. And do we want this one? Do we want this one? Do we want this one? And some of the local people, the Sundowners, who were a bunch of high school kids back in the day in the
Friday
60s,
night.
starting
Oh,
their
my God.
bands.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they would open for us on Friday night and do their magic. I think of Taylor Moss as a little 8-year-old girl who just loved clowning. And we decided we're going to hire this little girl to do her little act for a half hour, and reminding her that when she grows up to become famous, she got her start right here in Lebanon, Indiana. And she's written a children's book about clowns. She's, I believe, in her senior year of college right now. And she's going to go on to bigger and greater things in her career. And it all started right here in Lebanon, Indiana. I think of Blake Voigt, who made it all the way to the America's Got Talent Final 10, still doing magic, had a show out in Las Vegas. That there's been a lot of wonderful people coming on and off the stage. I think of Journey and Jet, who's coming in on this Saturday.
Yeah.
They're local teenage kids, youngsters, right here in Boone County, Indiana, Lebanon, Indiana, doing their magic. Many of you in the audience have
and the
seen
other one,
Journey and Jet, and come out and see those two young students.
Yeah.
They're probably 15, 16 years old. You've got a drummer and you've got a guitar player there, and they're going to put on a show. They're going to go on to do wonderful things here, in their career. And I'm just going to invite everybody to, as we've all experienced, people coming in and out of the show, all these local people right here in town that you folks get to enjoy.
And I brought up, the why you guys do this year after year. That may have been one of the whys, is the fact that you get to pour into young people that way. And sometimes it blooms into something that we see on America's Got Talent. And other times it's just a chance to showcase
all
locals.
The charisma,
Absolutely.
all the charisma
Yeah.
students, the
And the
Lebanon
other
high
one
school
that's with-
charisma students are all come out and sing too. So they're usually one of the first acts on Saturday morning. So it's thinking of all the students that have been in charisma
Yeah.
a lot.
Beth, other memories you have? I know you mentioned the all you can eat contest from Dairy Queen, but other things that you've stored in your memory bank over the years?
One of the ones that I'm hoping that it doesn't happen again, especially like this week, is
Oh, no.
One Saturday we started off really good, and then all of a sudden we got the remnants of a hurricane blow through.
Oh, yeah.
So we were still downtown at the time. So I have all the vendors that were in front of with the fun park with us yelling for us to come over and help them, as I've got my inflatables looking like they're about ready to become balloons.
Aerials, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, aerials. So I'm running around trying to secure the inflatables and help the vendors secure their area too. So, and I've watched a little bit of the weather coming up, and that little tropical depression,
It's,
is going to avoid us. I'm very confident with it.
Yeah, we're hoping it stays away from us and not causes havoc on Friday and Saturday. So, got our fingers crossed.
And everybody, we're talking with so many of the great organizers and the teammates that put together the Back to the 50s Festival here on episode 181 of the Love and Lebanon podcast. Again, Back to the 50s 30th annual taking place this weekend on both Friday and Saturday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the 13th, and 9 to 9 on Saturday. That's the Boone County Fairgrounds here in Lebanon, of course. But if someone is looking at all the different, just the treasure trove of events that are taking place within those 2 days, and they've never been, what event, what thing do you look forward to, or would you tell them, if you're going to see one thing, make sure you hit this, or make sure you hit this day, or check this out, all those things? I'm not going to pin you down, and there's no negativity to anyone you don't select. But if you got to see something, what's something you look forward to and would share with others that are maybe listening to this podcast and never been? I know it's a long list, Carmen, to go through. It's a tough one, but if it's just a part of it, just throwing it out there. Is there something you gotta, Barbara? You got
There's a bicycle show also, antique bicycles, and we have a contest where you can vote for the one you like the best. There's a gentleman that also brings one that has the great big front wheel and back wheel, and he'll even let you
the penny
ride
farthing.
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know what that's called.
absolutely. Yeah, well, that was only recent history with
You
stuff
knew the
downtown.
name for it. We
With
just
stuff
called
downtown.
it the big wheel. We don't know the fancy names on that.
Right. That's really the kids love getting on that, and it's really fun to see them ride around on that. And it's right across from the car show. Our car show is up to 350 cars.
That's amazing.
It's just you don't know which one to look at first, and you just keep looking and looking. And some of them have them decked out with the little side thing that has your Coke and tray with your Coke and your hamburger, like they used to have in the 50s. A few of them do that, and some of them have little animals in them. So it's fun for the kids to look at them too. This year, something different's going on. Mike Bruton has arranged with the Cruise Inn downtown. We're going to cruise at 7:30 on Friday night. The Cruise Inn is going to cruise down
Very
toward
cool.
Meridian Street and go all the way out to the park, around the park, and then hopefully grab up some of the people that are leaving the Cruise Inn
Come on
downtown
down.
and come on out to the 4-H grounds for the final hour.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it'll be fun
very-
going through town. So if you live on Meridian Street, watch for the cars.
That's like an old-fashioned cruise.
It's a
There we
cruise.
go.
It's a cruise.
Yeah.
And Joe, Mark Lehman, I really
Oh,
enjoy
magician.
watching
Oh, my
him.
goodness.
Mark has been around probably 30 years, walking around the festival, when it was downtown and now out at the 4-H grounds. And Mark entertains the crowd. Every year he comes up with something new. And we, as the audience, look at him, how in the world did you do that? And he never tells the secrets. He
And I
never
love his
tells the
personality
secrets.
too. Just the way that he's so whimsical about it, and he's so
That's right.
engaging with whoever he's talking to. Doesn't matter the age. He captures you. That's
He
such
sure
a
does.
great.
No,
Thank you.
I've known Mark since his daughter and my son started pre-K together, and the bag that his rings are in, I made that.
So you have a
And
connection.
worked with some of his clothing that he needed, shirts and this and that. So I've sewn some of his gear for his equipment. So we've known each other. Because our kids are now, we won't go into ages. And then a couple of the new things too that we want to talk about is the International Micro Mini Tractor Pulling Association and the Boone County Baggers are both new to us this year. And the Baggers is cornhole contest
yeah.
people. And so that's open. If you've got a team, come on out. Registration is at noon. And then, as they say, the bags will fly at 1. That's what they tell me. And then the mini tractor pull, that's in the Advantage Hall. And it used to be the Rabbit Building. So and bring your earplugs. It's noisy. It's loud. It's tractor pulls on tabletop. And the pull equipment, the bottoms are, well, I'll call that the same. The tops vary. They look like dragsters. They look like 50 vehicles, the hot rods. Or they're tractors, they're semis. The tops of the vehicles are all different.
Kind of a decorated shell on top.
Yeah, the shells
almost.
are all
Gotcha.
different.
Yeah.
But it's loud, very loud. They've had 2 pulls already this year, one in January, one again about April-ish. And they pull for points because it's international, and they pull for money. So they pay a fee inside, and then they get monies as it's competition. So they're coming from various states. So they're there for the first time for us this year.
Cool.
I've been to one of their shows. I've got pictures of their vehicles on the website. My video that I took wasn't enough quality to get their polls
seal
on there.
approval?
Yeah, well, yeah. My web person said your video wasn't good quality. I took it on my phone, and it wasn't quite good enough to get on there. But I've got pictures of some of their vehicles. The girls have them. The guys have them. Kids have them. The place was just full, packed of all the different, they got all kinds of classes. So I think it's for every age to go in and see those. They're really cool.
Very cool.
So they're there Saturday only, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're pretty nifty.
And everybody, I know we've thrown a lot at you with all the events and different
Yeah.
things. I'll put like a copy of the flyer on the graphic that I put together. But what's the best place if you're looking for the actual events and you want to see the flyer for yourself to snap it and save it on your phone?
The website's got
Website?
it,
Okay.
and they can download it and take it with
Perfect.
them.
Okay.
And we'll have some of them at our information booth to pick up and take.
And some great photos are there too on the webpage and also the Facebook as
The
well.
gallery's got
Facebook
some
page.
photos. I'm going to try to get some more on there. I do the website as much as I can. I'm not a website person, so I do as much as I can. Now, on Silly Safari, I'll be back again
Oh, good.
with 2 shows, and they have some great exotic animals. They bring some beautiful stuff with them, so we're real happy with them. We've got everything from A to Z for folks from 2 to 92. And we do have shuttles, golf cart shuttles so we can pick you up at your parking and take you where you want to go. We can't take you all the way through the car show,
Right.
but we can get you to most of it. But and it's free. You can always leave a tip if you wish, but it's free. So people do have an issue sometimes that it's a lot of walking, and they keep saying, "When will you go back downtown?" We can't.
It's huge.
I can't. I don't have any place.
Geographically,
I don't have any place for you to park. I don't have any place to park 250 plus show cars and vendors. We are sold out for vendors this year, completely, both inside and out, which we haven't done that since before COVID. So is really surprising to us. We've got lots of new vendors. We got a lot of returning vendors. And the indie large-scale railroaders are back. And if you don't realize that, they are part of the Idle Jorg train,
Gotcha.
that they're there at Christmas. This is part of that unit. So if you don't get to see that when you go to the Idle Jorg at Christmas, this is part of that unit.
Very cool.
So we're pretty blessed to have part of that unit.
Gotcha. Now, the last thing I'll ask, kind of putting you guys on the spot, at the end of, when you sing somebody happy birthday, usually there's a and many more type thing at the end. So this is 30 years in. Is this many more, or is this, you mentioned earlier in the pod, Carmen, about having some of those folks interested for and talking about even year 31. Is it many more, or are we saying hooray, fantastic, and celebrating back to the 50s for the legacy?
We're not sure.
Okay.
If we continue, it may be on a smaller version.
Okay.
If it continues, we need somebody to step in and perhaps take it over. A lot of us are in the gray area. Our dark hair has
Well,
gone.
not Beth. Beth is not in the gray area.
No, I tried to cover that.
Our dark hair has gone gray.
Said like that before. That is so good. So good.
Don't have quite the
And
energy.
Carmen, you nailed it.
But we need some folks to come in and shadow us and take it over.
You know what we need, Carmen?
Yeah.
We need some young folks in this community who understand and appreciate that it's all about volunteerism. But more importantly, for those young folks to come in to our meetings that we have. You'll see us out here at the festival this weekend. Approach us. Let us know that you're interested and bring your ideas. That's what we want at the table. We want your ideas, something new, something old. You just have the conversation with us because we're all open ears. We want something brand new, something flashy, something that's going to work. But as Carmen so eloquently said, some of us are in the gray area, some of us are in the bald area. In my case,
Yeah, I know.
but we're all
Having fun.
50 plus,
Yeah.
and we're 16 at heart. We're having the time of our lives out there, entertaining, having a good time. And we want you out there in the community to come in here and help us. Look at how much fun that we have out there, because we do. We have a good time.
Yeah.
We have a blast.
But it is easier to put it on Facebook or the 140 characters or whatever. We've seen that coming with, I think, the armchair quarterback, that type of thing. You're asking for sweat equity, people to actually come in and step up.
What has happened over the years, too, the festival was an item that was looked forward to yearly.
Still is, yeah.
But what has also happened is something happens every weekend now. So it's not looked forward to as much.
Oh.
It's not an item that's like, oh, goody, it's here. Now it's like, it's just another old festival because something else happens every weekend. It's the same thing. So why do we want it?
But we bring new things. That Colts truck we had that one year, they had a hands-on exhibit in a semi that was amazing. We try and get something new every year.
Yeah.
So is it something that people want, or are they going, no?
Bring your ideas.
We got to figure it out. And that's where it stands. So
We all love it.
I know the 50s is the 50s, so maybe it won't be the 50s. Maybe there'll be something else. That's an
We
issue.
sure get the
To be
cars, too.
continued, as they say
Yeah.
at the end of those episodes, those classic episodes.
And there's lots of legal legalities that would have to be addressed.
Super.
Joe, we grew up with same bat time, or I did anyway.
I
Same
did
bat
too.
time, same bat channel, and maybe they're just the 1980s, the 1990s. We've got to do something where the youngsters in this community want to come forward and submit their ideas, and then let's take off with it.
People want something to do, but they don't want to be responsible for it.
No, that's true.
There we go.
It is easier.
We were talking about recruiting new volunteers for the festival. Can we give a little shout out to the volunteers that we have?
Oh, the
That
volunteers.
couldn't be present today.
Yeah.
We have Shelby Zellers. We have Katie Stewart, Ann Thomas, Jane
Judd.
Judd. Who am I missing? The Bertrands, Michael and Krista with the car show. And then Ann Thomas, she has volunteers that help her with the photography. Ann does the photography for us.
Abby Lee.
Abby Lee, she does the photography. Abby Lee used to help us out with other areas of the festival as well. We're just want to give a little shout out to them today because they couldn't be here with us.
They're
but-
either at work or
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
can't get away.
they're nonetheless not
Yeah.
they're not no more or less important than
Right.
the ones that were sitting here with us today.
Super.
So it takes it takes a village to raise a family or your kid, and it takes a village to
put on an event.
to put on the event. We're Saturday mornings when we were downtown. We were there till after midnight some nights, just the regular of us. And Carmen and her husband were there. Oh, Larry, we got to give a shout out to Larry.
Larry
Ottinger and
Don Sanders.
Yeah, Don Sanders. But we would be up there till like 11, 12 o'clock, just the normal ones of us. And Carmen and her husband were up there much, much later, like still rearranging signs and signage and stuff, reskirting the staging, and which has gotten easier out at the fairgrounds. But, we would be back up there. I would be back up there at 5 o'clock in the morning so I could get the inflatables up so that they would have time to dry out overnight. And then starting at 6 o'clock, we would check the vendors in, and that's out at the fairgrounds as well. And I'll just say for me personally, I'm not a morning person, so that 4:30 alarm going off to get there by 6 in the morning now, that's a little rough. But, and then we're there again until like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Midnight.
Until, like late at night. So
The Boy Scouts help a lot
and
too.
the Boy
They
Scouts
clean
do
up.
help out.
They
help us
are
clean
wonderful
up.
with the
They
trash
do.
bags and everything.
They do.
Yes.
And it's like with the fun park, we have volunteers to help out with the inflatables at the fun park. It started out using the local PTOs. We would have the 4 of them from Friday through Saturday, and the money that we collected with the ticket sales, we would divide between the 4 PTOs as like a fundraiser for them. So then that's just kind of developed into other groups helping us out, which, by the way, we still need volunteers for this weekend from 1 to 5 on Saturday. So if you've got a group out there that wants to help out, contact us through our Facebook page.
For money.
And you will get reimbursed for it because we divide the sales and it goes towards your group or your organization. But yeah, I mean, it's hard work when we get into it. We probably moan and
Starts
groan
today.
through the year. But then when it's over on Saturday and we're like, oh, it's over. It was so much fun. What was I complaining about 4 months ago? But I can speak for myself and probably the group sitting here. It can be hard work. It is hard work. There's a lot that goes into it. But at the end of the day, at the end of Saturday, you look back and it's rewarding, just to see everybody laughing and having fun and just the community come out and supporting us and supporting the vendors that we have around there.
Yeah.
And Joe, I'll just add on that none of this could be done without the sponsors that we have. The list is way too long to go through that list, but there are sponsors throughout Boone County, Lebanon, all the municipalities throughout the county that have contributed to this process in order for it to work for 30 years. We have received grants from what used to be the Boone County Convention Visitor Bureau Board, now known as Discover Boone. They've given us money. The City of Lebanon, they've contributed money over the years, so a big thank you for those dollars that keep flowing in, and we just ask that support keep coming in from the sponsors and the vendors, everybody that continues to show up. We say thank you.
Fantastic. And thank you guys for being here on the podcast. Thank you for all that you do to help organize it. Keep the Back to the 50s Festival continuing for now 3 decades. And it knows a labor of love, quite literally.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the families who began this whole process. We know they're still there, and we'd love to get them back involved.
Well, thank you all for joining us here on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by and being here on the pod. Everybody, once again, back to the 50s 30th annual, taking place this weekend, Friday and Saturday, both at the Boone County Fairgrounds, 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Friday, September 13th, and then Saturday the 14th from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. We thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Love and Lebanon podcast. More episodes coming your way. Take care.
Thank you, Joe.